The audio snippets used in this podcast are taken from the Mellon Foundation Oral History Program's archive. The stories produced through this podcast series and the opinions and statements that may be contained herein do not reflect those of the District 6 Museum, but rather the individuals hosted within this series. Welcome to another episode in the District 6 Museum Vusalela Onsluister podcast series. As the oral history team, much of our work is centered around experiences of forced removals in the Western Cape. And this means that much of our time is spent in areas like Mitchell's Plain, Strandfontein, Ocean View, and Athlone, to mention a few. The Group Areas Act of 1950 displaced communities of people from one area to another, and we set out to explore what that new community was like, how people found a sense of community they left behind, and how their new house, their new neighbours, and this new community became home. We will now hear from a group of ladies who call themselves the Simonites. They were all, at one point or another during the 1970s, forcefully removed from their homes in Simonstown and taken to Langford, also known as Ocean View. First, we have Auntie Patricia Langford and Auntie Vivienne Cloete, who will tell us a little bit about what it was like when they first arrived in Ocean View.
When we came there to Slangkop, I won't say Ocean View, Slangkop, wow, there was no lights. There were white sand all over. We couldn't see.
There was electricity, but some of the roads weren't completely, it wasn't completed yet.
While Auntie Patricia had no electricity when she arrived, Auntie Vivienne did. But one thing they can all agree on is that it took a while for Ocean View to develop. Let's hear from Auntie Elizabeth Petersen.
You know, there wasn't a school, there wasn't a church.
In Slangkop.
Yeah, because we went to the hall, the Catholic church was there, and we went in the hall of them. Because my sister's son, he was baptized there.
Okay.
Yeah. And my mother, we were all in the brigade, because I was in the brigade in Simonstown. And then my mommy took the brigade over, in Ocean View by her house.
When they arrived in Ocean View, there were no shops, no churches, no schools, or basic services to speak of. But as the years went by and more families were removed to Ocean View, the community developed. Auntie Sakina Petersen will tell us a little bit about the first shops in Ocean View.
The first shop came, now before that, the first shop came was Raban's Butcher. They built a butcher there and a small grocery shop they built. Yeah, they built. Do you know Ocean View?
A little bit, I don't know.
As you come in by the bottom taxi rank, there Sundays, that was the first two shops. That people are all far down near. They all died. There's now the other people that got them. There's a Sunday with these dentists and their shop now and all that, and Jaffa with their fishery business. That was the first week there. Yeah, that was the first shop that came, and then a supermarket on that side. That building that's thrown off. That was a big supermarket. That was three brothers. One is Secunda. I don't know what's the other two's name. Then we were surviving because there was a butcher there in there. Yes. So that was all right. Yeah, that was good. Our bicycle, we had a big bicycle opposite. We had a post office. We had doctor's surgery. I don't know what happened up till today. Why they all threw that down. I don't know. Yes. Really don't know. Now everything you do now, you must go to Fisher, or you must go to Wynberg, or you must go to Cape Town or Simonstown.
Yeah, it's far.
Auntie Patricia, Auntie Vivienne, and Auntie Elizabeth all spoke about the emptiness they felt in Ocean View. But this does not mean that there weren't moments of fun and laughter, the way Auntie Leachy laughed in describing what those early days in Ocean View were like.
And when you first came to Ocean View, were there shops, were there schools?
Nothing. They used to have I think they used to have a house school. I'm not sure about the school part, because Sabira was still Sabira was our older Sabira when we moved in there. I think Vera was 3. Yeah, Vera was in Salim was a year and something. And I was pregnant with Irshan. And I don't know about the schooling. I think they built a little hockey or something to accommodate for the school. And they went there. But like the children that were still going to school in Simonson, I think they went via bus. I think they went via bus.
And was it the same with the shopping? So did you still do shopping then?
No. We didn't do shopping in Simonson. We had a shop there, a butcher. Yeah, I think we just had a shop and a butcher. And Ravan, they had the butcher there. Imam bin Ravan, his father had the butcher there. And the shop that other Titi had a shop, she also running out a long time ago now. She had you can buy your groceries and you can buy whatever you want to buy, you know, and the stall cheese with the fruit. Mr. Rogers used to come around with his lorry and I could him also be bookie.
Yeah.
Tot die end van die maand toe. Like they did my auntie in one day. My auntie, she said, and also the fish. They used to come around with on like a lorry with the fish in there. One Friday she said, Richie, hier kom 'n klop aan die deur. Ek gaan na die deur toe en sê auntie kom die visgeld haal. Sy sê, wat 'n visgeld? Auntie het dit gekoop. Nou die dag, maandag of whatever. Sy sê nee, ek het nie by jou vis gekoop nie. Sy he went back and he brought the boy that sold the fish. The boy can say die auntie nie. Ek het dit nie vir. Someone now they do that. They give your address and they buy the fish and hulle jou adres op die mense daar so. Hulle doen dit. That is that is what they do.
I can't even believe
Yeah, they do that. Sometimes, I mean, I know you still do that. They did that once upon a time. To say, ek weet wie daar is, but anyway, laat hulle maar lekker iets aan die vis wat hulle geëet het. They say, maar ek gaan nie betaal vir hulle visie. I don't even know if they did find the person who actually sold him the fish.
Auntie Leachy's laughter leaves in us a sense of lightness. But perhaps this was not the norm. Not in Ocean View or Mitchell's Plain or Athlone or any other area to which people were removed. While they struggled with basic services and infrastructure in Ocean View, Mr. Clifford Schoonraad believes he had a little luck on his side when he was removed to Tafelsig in Mitchell's Plain.
No, I was lucky. I was just lucky because this was one of the show houses. This house was painted, it was carpeted, the others wasn't. So I was just lucky. In that respect, you know.
Auntie Rosalind Isaacs, like Mr. Clifford Schoonraad, was also removed to Mitchell's Plain from District 6. She paints a picture for Ayanda Mpono, our interviewer, of her new home in Portland, a stone throw away from Mr. Schoonraad.
So in essence, when you got to the house, it was at least...
Brand new. It was brand new. There was very little to do here because, as I said, the place was still raw. You know what I mean? We still went to church in town up till today. In fact, I went to church yesterday. We go to church every day. But there was very little here. As the years went by, that they started building the inn on the plain, and they used to go bioscope there, and Westridge had a bioscope, which is now a skills training dingers. That was the only bioscope. There was no town centre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
There was no...
how did you do your grocery then? So
there was a little... there in Westridge was a little... a little shopping centre. That was the first shopping centre in Westridge.
Like Ocean View, Mitchell's Plain slowly developed into what it is today. The same can be said for other areas like Bridgetown, where Mr. Cecil Jacobs and his family were removed to. Mr. Jacobs is a community ballet teacher and has been ever since he was forcefully removed from District 6. Mr. Jacobs tells us about his early struggles of building community centres for these new areas.
This time was very sad, very few lights, buses, city buses, 4 buses for the day. If you don't get buses, you never see Cape Town. And no shops. We had to walk right to the end of another area called Silvertown, that is now in Rylands. We had to walk there to get to the shops. There was very few lights during the night. I can tell you, brother, it was wonderful to live there. But anyhow, we stuck it out, and the centre developed, and things developed, and from one centre, the council opened up 24 community centres. Bloemhof, Mannenberg, Hanover Park, Silvertown, all over.
As communities developed and people like Mr. Jacobs got the infrastructure they needed to live their lives in a somewhat comfortable manner, this did not take away from the discomfort and the unrootedness they felt staying in these areas. Like Mr. Aboubarker Brown said, he could never settle.
And I moved from one place, like all the family, from one place to the other. You couldn't settle.
Sure.
You know why? This was something new. You don't know your neighbours. Now this is the wise thing that the government did. Right? That's why you get this deterioration. They put you in the middle. People all along here that you don't know, from other areas, far away, that side. Now you could get used to that life.
It was a welcome home to a new life. A life they didn't know with people they've never met. But they did it nonetheless, and they made it through. They recalled the early days in their new homes like it was yesterday. But what they didn't say was how hard it was for them to be in this new place. Yet in the resilient spirit of all South Africans, they forged ahead. No matter where we are here. Thank you for listening, and please stay tuned for another episode in the District 6 Museum Vusalela Ons Luister podcast series. The audio snippets used in this podcast are taken from the Mellon Foundation Oral History Programs archive. The stories produced through this podcast series and the opinions and statements that may be contained herein do not reflect those of the District 6 Museum, but rather the individuals hosted within this series.